There you go.
Hey everyone, welcome to our very first STEMinar. Today's topic is going to be our heart and how we can keep our health at all-time highs. Today we're going to talk about cardiovascular disease, and then we'll talk about some activities you can do by yourself. Let's get started.
So before we get started on the actual topic itself, let's get to know a little bit about InfantSTEM as a whole. So InfantSTEM is an organization of high schoolers aiming to provide the young scientists of the future with an event platform to learn and share their ideas for free. We host events like this one to educate others about the various fields in STEM, but we've also held other events in the past which have involved speakers and junior events which have involved experiments and live demonstrations.
Today's seminar is going to follow a roadmap. We're first going to talk about our heart and why it's so important. Then we'll talk about heart disease causes and common heart problems that affect us all. Then we'll talk about how to keep CVD risks at all-time lows. Then we'll focus a little bit about the effects of our heart, and we'll finish it off with some interactive activities that you can do to prevent cardiovascular disease in the future.
So without further ado, let's get started with the first thing on our roadmap, which is the intro to the heart and why the heart is so important.
Okay, let's talk about the importance of our heart first. One of the most important functions of our heart is pumping blood. It pumps blood all around our body, delivering oxygen and nutrients, at the same time removing cells and wasteful products from our body. Along with this oxygen, it's helping refuel our cells and provide the basic building blocks that our bodies need to survive. This circulation of blood keeps blood moving in our body through the pulmonary circuit and the systemic circuit.
So now let's get into the problems in our heart.
655,000 people are the number of people that die every single year from heart disease. These heart problems consistently are the leading cause of death in the US, showing that there is a clear problem.
Did you know that one person dies every 36 seconds in the United States from cardiovascular disease? That's why it's very important that we all become very educated on this topic so we can reduce our risk of getting these cardiovascular diseases, especially the United States, which is one of the leading countries for obesity. It's very important that us as United States citizens, as well as everyone around the globe, has an understanding on what they can do to prevent their chances of getting heart disease.
Okay, let's talk about what cardiovascular diseases are. Cardiovascular diseases are a general term for conditions affecting our heart or blood vessels. It's usually associated with a buildup of fatty deposits inside our arteries and an increased risk of blood clots. It can be associated with damage to the arteries in organs such as the brain, heart, kidneys, or eyes. Like we mentioned, cardiovascular diseases are some of the main causes for death in the entire world and often are largely portrayed as one of the most important health aspects for our bodies. That's why it's important to lead a healthy lifestyle, and that's exactly what we're going to cover in today's presentation.
So just to go over a few types of CVD, I'm sure many of you know that there's many different types of CVDs, but four of the main types are described below in our slideshow right over here. So on the ultimate left, you can take a look. We have the coronary heart disease, and a coronary heart disease occurs when the flow of oxygen-rich blood to the heart muscle is blocked or reduced. And this puts an increased strain on the heart and can lead to three things. It can lead to angina, which is chest pain caused by restricted blood flow to the heart muscle. It can cause heart attacks where the blood flow to the heart muscle is suddenly blocked, and it can even cause heart failure, where the heart is unable to pump blood around the body properly. Next up, we have strokes and TIAs. So a stroke is where where the blood supply to part of the brain is cut off, which can cause brain damage and possibly even death. And a transient ischemic attack, also called a TIA or a mini stroke, is similar, but the blood flow to the brain is only temporarily disrupted. The main symptoms of a stroke or TIA can be remembered with the word FAST, which stands for F for face, A for arms, S for speech, and T for time. So let's get on with the face part of FAST. The face may have drooped onto one side, and the person may be unable to smile, or their mouth or eye may have dropped. Next, we got the arms portion of FAST. The person may not be able to lift both arms and keep them there because of arm weakness or numbness in one arm. Now for the speech or the S part of FAST, Their speech may be slurred or garbled, or they may not be able to talk at all. And now for the last part of FAST in strokes and TIAs, which is T, which stands for time, is it's time to dial 911 or 999 immediately if you see any of these signs or symptoms. The third thing we have is peripheral arterial disease. And peripheral arterial disease occurs when there's a blockage in the arteries to the limbs, usually the legs. This can cause dull or cramping leg pain, which is worse when walking and gets better with rest over time. It can cause hair loss on the legs and feet. It can cause numbness or weakness in the legs, and they can even have persistent ulcers, which are open sores on the legs and the feet. And on the ultimate right, for our last type of CVD, we have aortic disease. And an aortic disease is a type of condition that affects the aorta. This is the largest blood vessel in the body, which carries blood from the heart to the rest of the body. One of the most common aortic diseases is an aortic aneurysm, where the aorta becomes weakened and bulges outward. This usually doesn't have any symptoms, but there's a chance it could burst, and that could be life-threatening. So please make sure that you follow our upcoming steps on how you can reduce your risks for the CVDs.
So the causes of a CVD usually aren't fully clear. However, there are a lot of things that increase your risk of getting them. These things are called risk factors. The more risk factors you have, the greater your chances are of developing a CVD. It's that simple. And if you're over 40, you're usually invited by your physician and to get an NHS check every 5 years. Part of this check involves assessing your individual CVD risk and advising you how to reduce your risk factors. So now let's talk about some of the main risk factors, as you can see on our screen. The first one is high blood pressure. Your high blood pressure is one of the most important risk factors for CVDs. If your blood pressure is high, it can damage your blood vessels. Smoking is also another risk. Smoking and tobacco products use significant risk factors for CVDs, and harmful substances inside tobacco can damage your narrow blood vessels and make it a higher chance that you get a CVD. High cholesterol is a fatty substance that's found in your blood. If you have high cholesterol, it can cause your blood vessels to narrow and increase your chances of developing a blood clot. Diabetes are also a lifelong condition that causes your blood sugar and level to become high. High blood sugar levels can damage the blood vessels, making them more likely to become narrowed. Many people with type 2 diabetes are also overweight and obese, which is a risk factor for CVDs. Inactivity is also another risk factor. If you don't exercise regularly, it is more likely that you have high blood pressure, and high cholesterol levels and being overweight are risk factors for CVDs. A solution to this is exercising regularly, which will keep your heart healthy. When combined with healthy diets, exercise can help you maintain a healthy weight. Being overweight or obese ties right in with this concept. The more overweight or obese you are, the higher your chances of developing diabetes are. And high blood pressure, which we all know, are extreme risk factors for CVDs. You're at an increased risk of CVD if your body mass index is above 25. Thus, you can use the BMI healthy weight calculator to settle out a plan and see how you can reduce your BMI. If you're a male, a waist measurement of 94 centimeters or about 37 inches or more is also an indicator that you might be overweight. So you can always read more about this on your own time. Last but not least, there's also a family history of CVDs. If you have a family history of CVDs, your risk of developing it also increases. You're increased to have a family history of a CVD if either your mother or brother were diagnosed with CVDs before they were 55, or your mother or sister were diagnosed with a CVD before they were 55. So, if you know that you have a history of CVDs in your family, you should always tell your doctor or nurse, and they may help you suggest checking your blood pressure and cholesterol levels. There's also a few other minor risk factors to keep in mind that could develop CVDs. Age is one of the most common factors because the older you are, the higher chance you have of developing a risk factor. Gender is also a factor. Men are usually more likely to develop CVDs at an earlier age than women. Diet, as we all know, is extremely important in keeping your weight healthy, and an unhealthy diet can lead to high cholesterol and high blood pressure. Alcohol is also important because excessive alcohol consumption can increase your cholesterol and blood pressure levels to contribute to weight gain. Now let's talk a little bit about preventing CVDs.
Right. So we talked about the causes of CVDs and the types of CVDs, but now let's get a little bit on how we can prevent these CVDs from occurring. So a healthy lifestyle can lower your risk of CVD, but if you already have CVD, it's not too late. You can stay as healthy as possible to reduce the chances of getting a CVD, and you can even reduce the chances of it getting worse as well. So here's some ways that you can reduce your CVD risk, and let's get right into those. So first and foremost, if you are a smoker, we'd highly advise you to stop smoking. If you smoke, you should try and give this habit up as soon as possible. The NHS smoke-free website can provide information, support, and advice to help you with this problem. Your GP can also provide you with advice and support. They can also prescribe medication to help you quit. Another very important thing is to have a balanced diet. A healthy, balanced diet is recommended for a healthy heart. And a balanced diet includes low levels of saturated fat, low levels of salt, low levels of sugar, plenty of fiber. Make sure you're eating your fruits and vegetables, and to drink plentiful water every single day. Another main way you can prevent your risk of you can prevent CVD is to exercise regularly. Adults are advised to do that at least 150 minutes of exercise a week, whether it's cycling, brisk walking, or even playing a sport. If you find it difficult to do this, start at a level you feel comfortable with and gradually increase the duration and intensity of your activity as your fitness improves. Visit your GP for a health check if you haven't exercised before, or if you're returning from a long break after exercise. Another very important thing is to maintain a healthy weight. If you're overweight or obese, a combination of regular exercise and a healthy diet can help you lose weight. Aim to get your BMI below 25, as that's the recommended weight for an adult. If you're struggling to lose weight, your GP or practice nurse can help you come up with a weight loss plan and recommend services in your area. Another very important thing is if you're an alcoholic, try to cut down on alcohol. So again, if you drink alcohol, try not to exceed the recommended limit of 14 alcohol units a week for both men and women. If you drink this much, you should aim to spread your drinking over 3 days or more. A unit of alcohol is roughly equivalent to half a pint or normal strength lager or a simple measure of spirits. A small glass of wine is about 1.5 units. Your GP can help give you advice if you're finding it difficult to cut down on drinking. And the last resort is medication. If you have a particularly high risk of developing CVD, your GP may even recommend taking medication to reduce your risk. Medications that may be recommended include statins to lower blood cholesterol levels, low-dose aspirin to prevent blood clots, and tablets to reduce blood pressure. Again, it's very important to try and do other things to prevent yourself from getting cardiovascular disease, because a lot of these medications do have symptoms which kind of make your life kind of groggy and you get kind of cranky over time as well. So it's very important to lead a healthy lifestyle to prevent cardiovascular disease.
Now let's talk about some activities that we have planned for you. So right now, if you scroll down and check our description box, we have 3 activities planned, all with links to Google Docs, where we'll show you a full-on guide how to conduct them. The first one is measuring your heart rate and analyzing it. This is a fun activity, especially for young children, because they get to do a hands-on experiment with themselves and improve their health habits. Then, habits ties right into our second activity as well, as we show you a heart checklist that allows you to make sure you're keeping your risk factors at low. We talk about different items that you can check off every day to make sure you're getting daily exercise, having a healthy diet, and keeping your risk factors low every single day. Our third activity is about stress management. This consists of 2 portions. One is a journalism section where we give you journal prompts and teach you the importance of keeping thoughts and your writing down on paper because this helps keep your stress low. Then we also have a printable calendar that you can use where you can write down your to-do lists every single day to keep stress levels low and your risk for cardiovascular disease low as well.
Right, so thank you for attending our seminar. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot us an email at info.infinitestem@gmail.com. You can also contact us through our website, infinitestem.com, and view any of our past events there as well. If you haven't done so already, please like and subscribe. That would help us a lot. And if possible, follow our Instagram as well for more updates on future events, any updates on our website, and anything in general. So again, thank you for attending, and we hope to see you at a future event.